town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Hey everybody, happy Thursday night, happy leap day, last day of February. So excited you all are here. Thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your Thursday night with us here in the Ghost Biker Garage. I am your host, the Ghost Biker, and it has been a minute since I've been here, but I appreciate y'all bearing with me and tuning in tonight. So the last couple weeks, we, our last guest I believe we had on was Miss Letriana Brown, and we talked about haunted objects. We talked about hauntings in South Carolina. We talked about some really cool things. So if you missed that episode, I hope you'll go back, check it out, and follow her work that she's doing with Repossessed there on Hulu and History Canada, and check out that past episode for sure. We were off 2 weeks. The first week I had the opportunity to actually go and with some friends that run the genealogical society there in Morgan County, and then a former Lady Vol player there that played with the Vollettes back in the 60s got invited to a Tennessee Lady Vols game and got to watch them honor her as well as some fellow Lady Vols players. We went and did that. And then, of course, last week I finally got to take me a nice little break and went down to Clearwater Beach and got to see some really cool things, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. So just want to say hello to some of our friends over here in the chat room. I really love seeing you guys, and the ones that tune in every week. It's just like meeting up with old friends, and I absolutely love that. So hello to Miss Nancy Weems. Thank you so much for joining us. Sonia Thompson from The Walking Dead, thank you so much for being here. It was great seeing you last week. Thank you for letting me stop there at your house on my journey. It was quite a long drive down to Florida, and I appreciate you helping me break the trip up, which, like I said, we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. Mr. Daryl Paulette over in Appomattox, I hope you're doing well. And, of course, Ronnie Anderson, Miss Crystal Hill from down there in Alabama. We've got Robert here from a paranormal investigator of 33 years in a wheelchair, but that doesn't stop you. That is awesome. I love hearing that. And that's one of the things I'm so excited about tonight's guest. I don't know if I know of a more motivated person or a more positive person than tonight's guest. So I'm very excited, and it is wonderful to meet you, Robert. Mr. Larry Eisler here from up there in Illinois. We got Sylvain here. Hope things are going well in your neck of the world there, Sylvain. And then, of course, Mr. Bob Burnell. It's good to see you again as well. And so, like I said, just want to talk briefly before I get to tonight's guest about some really cool things that are going on. If you tuned in a little bit earlier this afternoon to the Jailhouse Informant podcast, you heard myself and Dr. Christy Sumner on there talking about some of the cool things that we've got going on at the historic Scott County Jail and historic Rugby After Dark. Of course, we're still, we've got extended hours through March 10th, so definitely want to come and take advantage of those extended dark hours, and you'll get to investigate the jail for no extra charge from 7:30 p.m. Eastern to 4 a.m. If you book an investigation between now and March 10th. So you're definitely going to want to take advantage of those extended hours while they last. And after March 10th, we go back to Thursday through Sunday investigations, 8:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, and we still got some dates open on that. So hopefully he'll go on there and check those out and see some of the really cool things. We're also in the process of transitioning over to the historic First National Bank building. If you've watched the show, we did announce this during the last show as well as during the Jailhouse Informant podcast. The the mayor of the town of Huntsville there, him and the alderman did entrust us with the First National Bank building. And so we're going to be moving our ticket counter as well as our gift shop at the jail over there to that building. So it's really cool that they've seen our vision, see what we're doing, and have trusted us with another location that we're going to be able to make public and accessible to the community to come in and find out some more amazing Scott County history. And it does create some really cool opportunities for our investigators. So we'll talk more about that at another time. But I do want to make sure to go on here. I want to talk just a little bit about my trip down there to Clearwater, Florida, before I get on with tonight's guest. I had the honor of meeting in person Stephen and Tim, and got to take a tour of their awesome bed and breakfast that they have down in Tampa, Florida. I didn't get to stay there, but if you've been following the page, you'll see that you probably saw some of my pictures from while I was there. They actually run the Phantom History Bed and Breakfast located there in Tampa, Florida. It's on the way in right off the interstate, and it's only about 15 miles there from the beach there at Clearwater. Of course, a lot of things going on there in Tampa, but they were on my show back last summer. I think it was maybe in August. I had them on the Ghost Biker Garage, and they were sharing all the really cool things that they're doing with this amazing house. And I took a lot of pictures in there, but I didn't want to give everything away while I was in there because I wanted to leave something for y'all to see whenever you go and investigate, or not just investigate, but stay there. But at this house, so it's set up as a bed and breakfast, but you can also investigate it. They're going to be opening it up for investigations, especially during the slower months. Slower months there in Florida is the middle of the summer. And so they've got several rooms that everything is themed. The whole thing is history and horror themed. But this room here, this was the portrait room. They've got portraits that they've got it at from antique stores that fill this room, and just the simple touches that they've done to make this not only a comfortable location, but a very beautiful location. Once you're in there, you can see their passion and just the fine touches. Those are really what makes this location. Everything from, converted antique furniture. I think that was maybe a bureau or a dressing table there. This is the Ouija board room. Each room has there's a book in each room, and of course this room had the Exorcist book in there. But again, like I said, you can see the fine touches, and everything is themed. And so horror writers and novelists on the wall. This was taken in the cemetery room. This bathroom was very, very cool. This room was actually an active room. We had a few things happen while we were standing in there talking. You could just feel the electricity inside this room, and some of the stories that Stephen was telling me as far as activity that's happened in there. It's enough to make the hair on your arms stand up. And then, of course, the beautiful bottle room that they have there when you enter. Like I said, they've taken a lot of care and a lot of time to put this together. We put together a little video while I was there. It is posted on the page if you want to go and watch that, where we talk a little bit about some of the stuff. But again, you can, during the summer months, you can rent this out to do an investigation. And also you can go in there and you can stay, rent one of the rooms out, rent multiple rooms out. They're really open. They do a lot of really cool things. They have a lot of stuff on their event calendar as far as their seances, ghost walks, ghost storytelling. They try to create a safe space for people who want to talk about their ghost stories. And I think that's probably one of their favorite parts, is hearing that haunting history. So go back. If you browse on the Ghost Biker Explorations page or on YouTube page, one or the other, and look up the Phantom History House podcast, you'll be able to see the show that we had, and they break it all down with different things that you can do there. Another thing that I just definitely want to kind of hit on real quick while we're talking before we get to tonight's guest. On my way back, I had the opportunity to stop at the Foxfire Museum, which is there in Mountain City, Georgia. And of course, that's my friend, Sonia Thompson right there that took me up there. And if you've followed the show for any point of time, you know that my grandma was my inspiration. And I loved sitting on the porch listening to her share stories about growing up in the early 1900s there in the Appalachian Mountains. And one of the things that she had was she had several of the Foxfire books. And if you're not familiar with those are books that they actually started as articles. Rayburn High School there in Georgia, those high school students, they interviewed Appalachian folk talking about crafts and cooking and really just Appalachian way of life. They interviewed them and created this magazine from that. The magazine then turned into books. And so these books, the royalties from these books, they actually went to fund this museum. And so the museum has a hiking trail if you can't hike because of, health reasons or mobility reasons. There's actually a road that goes to the different structures that they have built here. But these are cabins that have been relocated relocated from different places in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. And they all got a story to them. And so they've been rebuilt and put up there on the side of the mountain. And then during the summer, I know that they have different artisans and craftsmen that work inside of these homes here, maybe like a weaver, a clay maker, a blacksmith, doing these different things inside these old structures. And they sell their crafts there, and then they also talk about the history of it. So I definitely encourage you, if you love Appalachian culture, hiking, and just learning about history, check out the Foxfire Museum there in Mountain City, Georgia. You'll be glad you did, because it's definitely somewhere that is unique and a lot of fun. And it's also there at the base of Black Rock, or not Black Rock Mountain. I'm sorry, I'm totally drawing a blank of the mountain that it's at the base of. It's at. Give me 1 second. It's. I'm totally drawing a blank of the mountain that it's at the base of. I know if Sonia's on there, the state park, she can actually add that in there. So if anyone, yes, okay, I guess I got it right. It is at the base of Black Rock Mountain State Park. So anyways, so enough about that. Thank you all for your comments, questions, and for following on those adventures. We'll talk more about that at another point in time. But I just want to remind you, if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to put those here in the comment section. If you don't mind, please put them in all caps, just so I don't miss you as we're going through. So I want to, I'm so excited about tonight's guest. Been looking forward to having him on the show. We've been friends for a while, and actually had the honor of meeting in person a few years ago at an event there at St. Albans. And so we'd talked many years before that, but was just able to finally meet each other then. But Adam really is, like I said, he really is a true inspiration and motivation to investigators, and really just anybody. I've never met anyone more positive. And for those of you that know him, he is not just any paranormal investigator. He is in a wheelchair. His condition doesn't slow him down, but it's rather forced him to develop creative alternatives. And so throughout his life, Adam never let anything stop or prevent him from achieving his goals. Often considered a rolling trigger object, Adam uses his unique position to his advantage while investigating. And so we're going to be talking about this and how he got started. So if you will, please help me in welcoming Mr. Glider himself. Hey, Adam.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
100%.
Yeah. So, every time I see you, it's just like, even though we haven't seen each other in a while, when we do see each other, it's just like sitting down with an old friend, like we haven't been apart.
Yeah.
So just in case some folks don't know you, which I know a lot of folks do, but just in case they don't, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and how you got started.
Okay, so I'm Adam Bonnett, otherwise known as Glider. Um, I started investigating years ago. I had the opportunity to work at Trans Allegheny. I worked at Trans Allegheny there for about 7.5 years, I think it was, somewhere in that area. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But
Okay.
I just, whenever I was there, I was a assistant manager. So I'd done a lot of the managing at night. So it it gave me a lot of opportunity to do a lot of investigating and stuff, because we dealt with the public all the time, and other, people would run it as a private investigation too, which I know I've met a lot of these people from there. So, but just from, you know, always had interest in it, but that just kind of made it even better. That
Yeah.
it kind of topped it right there. So you got to do a lot of things, got to meet a lot of really good people, and that's what's good about it, is because I still have the friendships today. So it makes it always a good thing. That's it. I'm all about that, and
Absolutely.
just from that, I got lucky enough to start speaking. I think my very first event I ever spoke at was Dead Winter Con. I'm pretty positive that's where I met Sonia too. So, and
Mm-hmm.
it just went from there. I just kept on going, and I tried to do as many events as I could, and you know, I just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
One.
Well, I was thinking at first we met
Mhm.
at St. Albans, but it actually wasn't. We ended up meeting at Steve's
Oh
Paracon
yeah,
there
that's right.
when,
Yep.
yeah, when he was in the Sanford building with the
Yep.
Archive of the Afterlife. That was
Yep.
actually my second Paracon that I had ever
Yep.
done and spoke
Yep.
at. Yeah.
Yep. That's true. That is true.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
that was years ago.
Many
Definitely.
years ago.
Yep.
I know
Yep.
we had been friends a long time before
Yeah.
that, but actually being able to meet in person and get those selfies,
Yeah.
love it.
Exactly. Yeah. We got to keep that selfies up. So.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, and as Dan says, yeah, absolutely old school. I know Steve is I've seen just lately where I think he's either moving the archives again. Um,
I
I
I
think I
don't
saw,
know. Yeah.
yeah,
I haven't. Hmm. I
I
can't
hadn't been
remember.
to it since it moved out of the Sanford school.
Yeah. I think I was at the new place once, but I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly where it was. It was. I don't know. I got lost trying to find it the second time. So.
Yeah. Well, and then of course a lot of the folks that's over here in the chat room, I met most of them at Enigma Cons there at
Yeah.
St. Albans, and to me one of the best Paracons and one of my absolute favorite locations, and
Yeah.
some of my most favorite people, that host that.
Definitely. Yeah. It was always a good time. That's for sure. Had a lot of good times there.
Yeah. So, Tala, that's one location I've not had the opportunity to go to yet.
Mhm.
Hope to make it at some point, but what a cool place to work at and to be
Right.
involved with.
Yeah. Yeah. What was good about it, is like currently I'm only 6 miles from it. So I drove past it. Well, actually I drive past it every day. So, and when you're growing up, it's like it was an active facility. So you would actually see the patients out in the yard and stuff walking around. And the old theory of where your parents say, if you don't straighten up, we're going to take you, drop you off to crazy house. So, you know, lo and behold, that's where I went for a while. So,
Wow.
yep, definitely. So reality
So
didn't fall too far. So,
So where did that love really start? I mean, had you been interested in the paranormal from when you were younger, or did it
It,
stem from an experience?
uh, it was just, it's kind of weird, whenever I was younger, I rode ATVs a lot. So, and one of the places that we would ride to was a church that, we always just went over there and just hung out because it had a cement slab out in front of it. So we just hang out there, just nothing else to do. And
Mhm.
it was kind of weird. I remember we was there, you always heard the stories of the altars in the church rise at a certain time, blah, blah, blah. We was talking about that one day, and it was getting about 7 in the evening on a summer evening. And one of my friends that was with us, they had to use a restroom. And at this church, they had the double doors, but inside we thought that you could just go inside the first door and the second door was locked inside. But we went over to the first door and everything was locked up, so we didn't think about it. We come back over, we're just sitting there fooling around, and next thing you know, that door just started rattling like crazy. We knew there was no one there, so that was kind of the first experience where we was like, "Yep, we're leaving. We're not coming back." It was very scary at the time because you're only 10 to 15 years old, so it's like, yep, gotta go. So, but just from that time, it was, I mean, it's just like today, you sit and you ponder and you cannot, like in my mind, I can't get past wanting to know what the unknown is, so it just kind of stemmed from there. And research, like I look up a lot of things, and just, everything that you read and watch on TV and stuff like that just makes your mind ponder even more. So it just kind of went from there, and just, you know, all that fun stuff. But then it turned
Wow.
into this. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing because you just never know where that road's gonna lead.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah.
Like I would have never in my time thought that I would be working at Trans Allegheny or doing anything else, and investigating places I've been, things like that. So,
Well, looks like we've got a question over here.
okay.
Dan says, Adam, have you been back to investigate Talus since you left?
Um, I went back once. I had some friends that asked me to come back with them. They went on an investigation there, and I went back once. It was different,
Mm.
Um, I don't know how to explain it. It just felt different whenever I was there this time because I've been going so long. And but yep, as one time.
Wow. Well, do you think a lot of that is because of the so many people investigating it there, or why do you think it's changed? Because I know I've investigated several places that weren't open to the public, and once they ended up getting open to the public and more people came, the activity just completely changed.
Right? Yeah. I possibly could be, but it was just I was used to being there either every other weekend or every weekend, um, just constantly being in there in the hours and stuff. But whenever I left there, I started doing investigations other places. I started doing a lot of speaking. Um, and it just, I don't know if it was just from being the time away, it just felt different in general. So,
Hmm. Well, let's talk about some of your. Well, actually, before we do that, I just want to pull up Ronnie's comment. He says that you were a fixture there, and when you left, it changed the building.
yeah, I was, I guess you could say it that way. A fixture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Yep.
So let's talk about your speaking and stuff, because
Okay.
I know you do a lot of that, and like I said,
Yes.
I've been able to hear you speak on two different occasions,
Hmm.
and um, such a motivational speaker, about just showing that there are no limits,
Yeah.
and like I said, I've never met anyone more positive than you. Can we talk a little bit about that in investigating
Sure.
without limits and such?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that was the thing, whenever I started speaking, I wanted to, it was kind of weird because whenever I worked in the environment I was in, and whenever I would go and investigate other places, I always had people in my situation. I pick up on a lot of things that people do. So it's like I noticed that people was watching how I would do things or how I would investigate. And whenever I started doing speaking and stuff, I found that that would be an opportune situation for myself
Mhm.
to let others know that, anything is possible, just lo and behold, in my situation, it's paranormal stuff. So, and, with a lot of the times that we face investigations, it's older facilities. Um, that's one of the things I get asked all the time is how do you investigate other facilities and things. What's cool about it is every place has a lower level floor. So, you
Mhm.
know, just my situation at Trans Allegheny was the first floor was the largest floor there. So I was
Okay.
very content. I had tons of space to be able to do things. I think I went upstairs 2 or 3 times in my whole time that I was there, and it was like I want to go back downstairs. These ain't as big. It's kind of boring up here to me. So you know, but just to be able to get the opportunity to tell people that there's options. There's
Mhm.
ways to do things, and just I try to inspire anyone I can. So
Mhm.
that's my whole purpose. Just share my experiences and tell some stories. Like I could literally one of my biggest things is I love this. This is going to sound so weird. A lot of people that know me already know this, but I love fishing. I can talk about fishing all the time, and I just haven't figured out how to incorporate fishing into investigating. So I don't know.
Hey, we use that analogy a lot with on our guided ghost hunts.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, because a lot of the time on the guided ghost hunts, they're paranormal enthusiasts or people
yeah,
who have maybe never done an investigation before, and that's one of the examples we use because it's you're going in and you never know if you're going to get that bite or
that's
not,
right.
and
Yep.
sometimes there's a lot of sitting and a lot of
Oh,
casting.
yep.
Uh huh.
Definitely. That is
Yeah.
true. It's hmm, that's pretty
Hmm.
awesome. I like
We
that.
use that analogy a
Yep.
lot on that because
Yep.
you'll have people come in that watch a lot of paranormal entertainment shows on TV, and
Right.
they always think that it's happens in 30 minutes, and with the
Right.
guided ghost hunts, those are a 3-hour experience, and it's different because you there's a big part of it that's entertainment in a way. I mean, it is different than paranormal investigating, or we
Right.
treat it different than that,
Yeah.
and mostly because they don't they might not always realize that you're going to be going in and you may spend half the night
Right.
and not experience anything, or it be so subtle that you need to go back and listen to your recorders because it may be something you didn't hear in the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we always that is definitely one of the things that we do. You need to come down, investigate rugby in the jail, and you can come here and fish at my pond here at my
Nice.
farm. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're not
Very,
investigating.
very cool. Yep. Definitely. Yep.
Let's see here. So we've got let's see, there's a couple comments here. Dan says, fish on, man.
Yep.
And let's see. Larry says, ask them about their favorite lures. Fishermen love talking about their handmade lures.
True that. That's true. I'm telling you, that is
You know,
true.
those are some of the best type questions too,
Yeah.
especially we'll have to try that at the jail actually, because we'll talk about things that has nothing
Right.
related to that.
Yeah. Yep.
And I would imagine a lot of the folks that was in there were probably pretty big fishermen too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And Ronnie says, fishing and racing carts. Glider is a wheelman also.
That's true. Yep. I race carts. So I get pretty competitive with that. So it's, you know, you have to, but it's fun. It's something else that I can achieve, and it works out well, or at least so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bob says, Adam, like people that are blind that claim their other senses are heightened. Do you feel being in a wheelchair has sharpened your investigative skills or heightened other senses of yours?
I think so. The reason I say that, I've heard this situation. I know a person that deals with similar situations to mine, and we've talked before about things. And I know that in her situation, she actually has vision problems. So I know that in her situation, her senses have heightened. I feel that it's kind of weird how to say it, but I I I use myself as a trigger object also.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do in that situation is, I mean, this really doesn't go off sense or anything like that, but
Yeah.
um, I use myself to my advantage to try to get evidence or situations to happen. Like, can you open the door for me? I'm not able to do it. Can you please help me out? Things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And sometimes, not saying all the time it works, but
Yeah.
there's been situations to where I've had doors start to creak open. Um,
Wow.
yeah, very cool. I've had doors shut in my face before, which is totally opposite of what I ask it to do. But you know, um, but I do think that in certain situations like that, the senses are more in tune than what they exactly what he says. Something gives out, something picks up better. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have any other stories about things where you've used yourself as a trigger item that you can share with us?
Um, I just know that whenever I go to different locations, like hospitals, for example, or nursing homes, or um, I've been to a range of places, but I know just whenever I go there, it's just me. It's just logic for me to try to do something that's going to try to help me get evidence or something else to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the door situation. I've asked about elevators before at locations, to try to get any EVPs or anything like that. Um, of course, like I said, the door shutting in my face, which was just odd. But
Yeah.
in hospitals, I'll go to different areas and just start asking questions, turn on the voice recorder, or have, either a meter going or something like that. And one, it's kind of weird because, I'll go into the situation and be like, I'm sure you and I have relevance at this, facility or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just keep on and on and on, and generally something either knocks, bangs, doors shut, or there's always something.
Yeah, and that's really cool. in talking about that, because when
Hmm.
I used to be part of PRGI, I know that one of the founders there, he had open heart surgery, and
Yeah.
so not long after he had open heart surgery, we went and investigated Old South Pitt Hospital,
Yeah.
and he used that as used himself as a trigger item at that
Yep.
point,
Yep.
talking, and then I believe he did that at Waverly Hills.
Mm.
And it's always interesting when you can take something of yourself
Yeah.
and try to create something that some of these spirits can potentially identify, or in your case, to really
Right.
show that they're aware
Yeah.
and
Yep.
intelligent,
Yeah.
as
Exactly.
far of the what's
Right.
going on around. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And that's what I really like about it. If it's worth a shot, always worth a shot. So it's
Hmm.
definitely cool.
Absolutely. So just looking over here at the comments, let's
Hmm.
see, make sure I don't miss anyone. Yes, Wanda, this is my cat Cheeto came into the room, one of my many cats. And then Nancy, oh, of course, whoops, hit that too quick. We've got Mr. Brandon Cooper here, and from Shaman Sundays. Yep, we got a ghost biker here. Hope your wife is doing well. I saw where she had been in the hospital, so I hope Anna is recovering nicely. Nancy says my sister was handicapped and it never stopped her. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
You know,
Me too.
especially in a time where, I don't know, it seems like in the paranormal community, it seems like there's a lot of gatekeepers and a lot of people
Yeah.
saying you have to do this and you have to do that. I love, and essentially kind of, it feels like there's limits that some people want to
Yeah.
set. And, you're doing the total opposite and showing,
It's
that it's limitless and
right.
opening it up. I love it.
It's like I always say. I put the para in paranormal. So I mean, it's how I roll. There you go.
I love that. I love that. And I mean, you've got the coolest, let's see if I can pull it up here. The coolest logo here. I think
Yeah.
that's so cool. The ghost in the wheelchair there.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I love your statement. It's how I roll. I mean, that says it all.
Yep. It's true. I mean, you can't stop. You got to keep going. I mean, just like the comment earlier, you can't stop. You got to never give up. So that's my whole thing is you know that's why I do kart racing. There's so
Mhm.
many things that I do that besides paranormal stuff, and it's just is I don't think about it. It doesn't cross my mind like the kart racing and stuff. I just do
Yeah.
it. So it's just never. It's just fun.
Absolutely. Now, so you've been in a wheelchair all your life, correct?
Since 13 months old. Yep, 13 months
Wow.
old. I had an ear infection. The ear infection spread to the spinal column, killed some nerves, and pretty much
Mm.
left me paralyzed. So, but this was before they could figure out a lot of things, and it was kind of weird, because from what my parents told me, we went to all the hospitals within the state here, and I think it was a couple weeks after that we went to the Children's Hospital in Columbus, and they told me, well, they didn't tell me, they told my parents, if
Mm.
I'd have been there like 3 days earlier,
Mm.
they could have had the chance to reverse, the damage and stuff like that. But it is what it is. So I
Yeah.
just go with it. You know,
Wow.
everyone adapts. So I've adapted really well and just go with it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow. And Wanda says she would love to see you race. Do you
Oh,
have? I know you've posted pictures
yep.
of your racing. Now,
Yeah.
how often? I mean, is there somewhere people can see you race?
Um, I generally post it to Facebook. If I know, it's kind of weird because where we race at, there's no cell phone service at all, so you just have to video and then upload it later. It depends on the night, if I show up at the track, it's so weird because generally it's me and my dad and one of my friends. He's like my pit crew guy, and we dad my dad's the craziest guy ever. He's going on 83, but he's like 20. So, but he'll pull the it might be on there somewhere. Actually, it's under my glider. I have another page called Glider Racing.
Okay.
That's what it is. I can't remember.
Well, let's just see.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
I'll put the link on there.
Yep. But we show up to the track, and Dad, he's pretty much just a driver. He'll show up, goes to the trailer, gets his chair out, and he's done. That's perfectly fine, And then, depending on the night, we just kind of. It depends on if it's going to be a competitive night, if it's a points race or what it is, if we feel like video and anything. I used to do a lot of GoPro on the helmet and the cart stuff, but I just got to the point that I was like, nah, I got to focus on racing. So,
right. Okay, looks like they've got the schedule for.
Yep.
One of them, Mountain State Motorsport Racing.
Yep. That's our schedule for this year so far. So
perfect.
Yep.
So Dan says never forget how you got the name Glider. So how'd you get that? Because I know all of us here on Two Wheels and stuff. A lot of us have road names and stuff. Right. So how did you get your nickname?
It was kind of it's been so long. I know that whenever I was there was a gentleman one night whenever I first started working there. I used to have this heaviness feeling around me, every time I go down a certain ward or a certain area, I'd hear heavy footsteps. It just felt very intimidating and things like that. And then one night there was a gentleman, I have no clue who he was. To this day, I still don't know who he was. But he came in, and it's hard to explain this, but he just pretty much randomly walked up to me, and he was like, "Do you mind if I follow you around tonight?" He says, "I just got that feeling that I need to do this, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "That's fine." I said, "As long as you can keep up with me." I said, "Because I need to check on groups and things like that." Mm-hmm. So as we're going, I noticed that he's following me around, and he'd stop at certain areas and talk, and didn't really pay much attention at the time. Long story short, at the end of the night, he walks up to me and he says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I said, "Sure." He says, "You probably noticed whenever I was walking around," he says, "I was stopping, and he says every time that I would stop, he said I kept hearing the words glide." And I said, "Wow." It's at this time it didn't make sense to me. He says, "Well," he says, "think of it this way." He says, "The intimidating feeling you're feeling," he says, "is whenever you're going down through," he says, "every time," he says, "I heard the word glide, 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 glide." He says, "The logical aspect of this is your chair is low to the ground. You have the lower back. In the older facilities, they had the wooden wheelchairs, which were the higher seats, the higher backs off the ground." He says, "So it looks like you're just gliding across the surface." I was like, okay. So, at that time I was like, "Yep, that's cool. Yep." He says, "Next time you get these feelings," he says, "just go down through there." He says, "Stop." He says, "Just have a conversation with them, I think it was a couple weeks later, something like that. I was going down through, and all this heaviness started again. The footsteps started again. At this time, I was just like, I'm going to try this, see what happens. I just kind of stopped and turned around and said, "It's time for us to have a talk." I said, "I'm no different than you." I said, "I might be able to relate to you in certain situations, so, it was kind of weird because after that things lightened up. I was able to get more activity. It was it was kind of weird because there was certain situations to where I would go down through there and I would hear knocks on doors as I would go down through, like, hey, Adam, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And ever since then, I created that little ghost with the wheels and the footrest on it, and I got him copyrighted, and
Nice.
I put him on a T-shirt, and it was kind of weird because the name just stuck. Everyone started calling me Glider, and I would go to certain locations, and what was it? Hillview Manor.
Okay.
They used to have a nurse's station up there with a bunch of post-it notes on it, and you could fill out a post-it note and put up there. So I just put a little Glider logo and put Glider was here. And it was a few weeks to a month later, somebody come down and I was wearing a shirt with my logo on it, and they says, "We've seen that logo somewhere." I was like, because at this time, every place I went to investigate, I would just take and put this little logo everywhere. So
Uh-huh.
it just kind of stuck, and Glider just happened to stick, and yep, that's him right there. Yep,
I love it.
yep.
Do you
So,
think Oh no, please go on. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
oh no, I was just going to say I use him just to represent me and everyone else in my situation. That there's no limits and all kind of things. So
Well, with all the different theories of what the paranormal could be, from people thinking that it's, an alternate or different a time slip or dimensions, or some just thinking it's, spirits in another place.
right,
Um, I could actually really see from the story he's telling where the other dimension theory would make sense, or a time slip, because if someone that's there in another dimension or time is experiencing you essentially gliding or
right,
floating through, I could see where they would think you were
yeah,
a spirit or
right,
something
right, yeah,
gliding.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. I mean, it was weird at the time, but afterwards and all this started playing in my head. I was like, yeah, I mean, this is weird, but totally legit. So
Yeah. Well, what is your theory, or one of your theories, but based on your research as to what we're dealing with or what we're communicating with?
um I guess kind of, I mean, it kind of also, what you said earlier has very good relevance. I think so. Is it that we are how can I say this properly? Are they in the spirit world, or are we in the spirit world? You know,
Right.
it's just like I said something the other day about how a lot of people believe that Bigfoot
Mhm.
could be some sort of spiritual thing. You know,
Mhm.
and from what some of the things that you research,
Mhm.
you know, it kind of makes sense in a way. A lot of things do.
Mhm.
So
I never really thought of it that way when I first started out, because I mean, I spent a lot of time in cemeteries when I was younger and investigating. Of course, you know, you learn more the more you do, and if you're like me, my theory always change or sort of evolves the more I do this.
yeah,
And I had never really given a lot of thought to the dimension thing. I just kind of in the beginning thought it's just spirits on the other side that have passed on. But the more stories I've heard, like the one you just told, as well as I had Lawrence Milano from Mondo Docs on, and several other folks that told stories. And it really kind of makes you look at the way they communicate with us, some of the common responses
right.
that you get in EVPs. I can absolutely see where they could think we're the spirits,
Yep, Yep.
just by some of the responses that they give us that don't really seem to make sense when you think about it until you start to think about it, that what are they experiencing at the same time we're experiencing something.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And so let's see here. Dan says Bigfoot is definitely an interdimensional being. I totally agree with that because there's just too many things that point, to
Right.
that to be
Yeah.
anything but.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
David Bonnett says Gettysburg.
Yep. Yep. One of my favorite places. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So
Yeah. Have you done a lot of investigating in Gettysburg?
yes. Well, I probably not a lot, probably 4 or 5 times. I've done different areas. Um,
That's quite a bit, though.
yeah, yeah, but it's just one of my favorite places to go. Just the history of it and things that happened there. Um, it was definitely. I cannot remember the name of one of the places that I was at. Can't remember the name of it, but it was kind of weird because we was investigating this place, and at the time there was a it was a old hospital where they would throw the limbs out the window that got shot or chopped off,
Okay.
whatever it is. And
Yep.
a couple, I think it was a year before we investigated there, I believe it was something like that. Somebody was found. I forget exactly how it was. I think the people that owned the property was metal detected on the property.
Mm-hmm.
Come along, and long story short, they dug a spot and they found bones and things in a pit
Wow.
where they tossed them, in the pit.
Okay.
We was investigating there before the evening. I was just going around taking pictures of the house and stuff, and caught shadows in the pictures and things. So I thought, well, this is going to be a pretty good evening. It was mid-August. We went outside, and we just was outside hanging around about 3 in the morning. Took my recorder, just set it down. You could clearly see where this divot in the ground was. So I just set the recorder on it, and we was just talking away. And about a week later, I was doing the dreaded. I didn't want to go over the audio thing because it was
Yeah. Daunting.
yeah. So I started it, and it was so amazing because I was picking up musket sounds at 3 in the morning.
Wow.
We heard cannons going off over the EVP and stuff, or the voice recorder, and one of the most eerie voices saying some very foul words. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just amazing. But there's just so much there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't throw a stone at a place that doesn't have some type of activity there in
Right.
Gettysburg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely so.
Wow. And so you're going to be at the Bash this year, Gettysburg
Yep.
Bash?
Yep, I'll be there.
Nice.
Yep, for sure. I'm pretty excited for it. So
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite events of the year. So it's a very good cause, and I just love going to it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And they always put on just such a good event.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Now, speaking of events,
Hmm.
you want to share a little bit of a few events you've got going on this year? You want to promote
I've
those?
got this year. I've kind of cut down on events this year. Unfortunately, um, I don't even know if I have any listed on my site yet, but I've got
It doesn't look like it yet,
nah.
but
I didn't think I did. Those are all past events, I believe it was. But I
mhm.
know this year I've actually got two scheduled so far that I've done committed to was the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash,
Mhm.
which is in Gettysburg, And then I'm kind of excited to do here in West Virginia. We're doing our first Grafton Monster Festival. So
Ooh,
I'm really
okay.
excited. I'm going to be a speaker at it. So that's really exciting for me because it's not far from here, and I'm a native
Hmm.
West Virginian, so it'd be really cool to go there and talk to people and try to inspire people here. So that's a good thing.
And you all have some of the best stories of monsters and just legends that come out of your
Ton-
state.
yeah, tons of cryptids and tons of legends. Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, that's for sure.
Let's see here. Wanda says, do you, let's see, do you either feel that you have helped any spirit move on?
I I don't I don't think so. Um, the reason I say that is I've never attempted to do that. I'm more the
Same.
research aspect. I want to know as much as I can. No matter what the situation is, no matter what it is, dark or not dark.
Hmm.
It's more knowing than doing that. So I'm
Yeah.
more the researcher aspect.
That's, I'm the same way with that. For me personally, I don't feel I don't
Yep.
want to, I'm human. I don't know where I'm sending them. So,
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I totally agree with that. Good question, Rhonda, or
Yep.
Wanda, excuse me. And Ronnie says, what's your favorite piece of equipment?
That's a hard one because I don't really get into a ton of the gadgets and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I've got my little range of things I like to use. Um, I love a voice recorder. Um, I love using just the K2, or a lot of people are skeptic of them, but I like using the mag lights too.
Those are my favorites. Love
Yeah,
the mag lights.
I
Yeah.
just it's a lot of people will argue with you about it, but whenever I have a range of color of mag lights and I can get relevance off of turn on the blue light, turn on the pink light, turn on the red light, and it happens
Hmm.
at that exact sync. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. So
Yeah. No, I'm a full believer in those. I mean, we with Daryl, or not, excuse me, not Daryl. With well, we did some pretty cool stuff with Daryl at Appomattox in the
yeah,
church there, and was having them when we started talking about music. They
yeah,
started turning the light on at the organ,
yeah,
and we started talking about the back row sinners at the church there, and kind of giving them a hard time. Literally, the back row of the church started lighting up with
yeah,
the flashlights. I don't know how you can. I know how people try to debunk them, but
yeah,
when
right,
you're getting smart and intelligent
yeah,
responses like that, I
yep,
I don't know how you can debunk that.
right, yeah. I know that I've investigated with them for a long time,
Yeah.
and with dealing with certain investigations, people are very skeptic of it, and
Mhm.
they don't know what to do whenever you hand them the light and be like, tear it apart, you know, set it
Yeah.
up. So,
Yeah.
but it's is what it is. I still believe what I believe. So,
Same. I mean, I tell you, we started a cool game there in the Dragon Room there at St. Albans last time I was there,
hmm,
and it was at EnigmaCon, and so I think I had about 12 of those little mini mag lights,
yeah,
and I had 6 of them lined up, in various places in the Dragon
yeah,
Room, and so what I did was I gave several to women and then several to men. And
hmm,
so I was like, so I'm talking to everyone in the room, and that meant anyone that was living and anyone that maybe wasn't. It's like, if you're a female, turn your light on.
right,
And so all the living females turned theirs on, and we had several others. How does it turn on at that
right,
same moment?
yeah,
And then when you start asking for the men to turn theirs on, and different. mag
Yep.
lights turn on, you know,
Right.
and to be able to include all in that, and asking, you know, well, if you're in your, you know, if you're in your 20s, everyone who's in your 20s, turn your light on,
Yep.
and
Yep.
everybody doing it. I love incorporating the
Yeah.
living, you know, with the others, and having it work. It's I
Yep.
think it's really cool.
Definitely.
Shows their
I agree.
intelligence.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree, Dan. And excuse me, question, Ronnie. So if are you? I know you're doing limited speaking events this
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
but if someone is hosting an event and they're interested in having you come, is that something you're open to? I mean, can people reach out to
Yeah.
you? And of course, you'll look at it on an event by event basis.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much what I want to do with it right now. Is if something pops up, I'll do it. I mean, I'm not gonna be
Mhm.
like, nah. It's just
Yeah.
I need to start focusing on some other things and racing and things like that. Like last year, I come in third place. And, I got to do better this year. So, but you know, it's just so happened that some of the races last year were points races that fell on events. So I'm like, figures,
Ah,
So
right.
no, I'm 100% game. I mean, if somebody wants me to speak somewhere, I'll definitely do it. It
Okay.
keeps the inspiration rolling, literally.
Yeah, literally. And so we've got the links there in the show notes, and we've been putting some of them up here. What is the best way for somebody to reach out to you if they want
Um,
to do an event, or even if they just have a
yeah,
question, want to,
yeah,
kind of talk
yeah,
to you about some stuff?
yeah. They can easily contact me on my Facebook page. Just my Adam Bonnett page, or my website. Um, I think there's a contact me form on there too. So
Yeah,
there's tons of ways to find me. You know,
wonderful.
it's yep.
And he's
So
got all of his social links on
yep,
there. I
definitely.
I do definitely want to pull up, because we love promoting our content creators on here. I definitely want to pull up your YouTube page. I know that's one of the things that
Yep.
you had talked to me about, that you
Yeah.
were planning to do more videos coming
Yes,
up.
definitely. I need to. That's another thing that I kind of want to focus on this year too. Is I want to do more investigating. Get back into the investigation part.
Hmm.
Doing some video and uploading more material for people to check out and see how things are done. So if I can, whatever I can do, it might not be the best quality because I'm terrible at it, but doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
it doesn't matter? No,
Yep.
not at all. Folks, definitely go on, check out Adam's Facebook page. Go give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe to his YouTube channel, and check out his website there, because it's got links to everything. I think it's got his Twitter page, or X,
It
whatever
does.
whatever
Yep.
it's called
Yeah.
now. Now you're starting a podcast here real soon, correct? Or you've
Yes.
started
Yes.
already, right?
I got all the information down. I got everything ready to roll. It's just finding time to get it going. That's my hardest thing. And then like I have guests lined up and everything, but it's
Hmm.
just getting to it. That's the
Yeah,
hardest thing I'm having a hard time doing right now. But yep, it should be very soon. So
nice.
like I'm in transition of jobs, so I'm just waiting to get paperwork done and see what the schedule is going to be like for that, to see if it's going to interfere with any of them, because I was set to do it on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping I'll be able to stay on Friday nights,
Hmm.
even if I have to do it every other week. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
But definitely got the idea to do it, so I got to follow through with it. The only
Well,
thing that the only thing I'm terrible with right now is everyone wants me to write a book, and I'm terrible with books. I just
I can understand that feeling myself. There's not enough time to do everything. And man,
Yeah.
I would imagine writing a book would just be it's a special skill set.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yep. Yep. Unless I can write a book and have 50 pages with 2 or 3 words on each page, I'll be happy. Stick a couple pictures in there and there you go. So
Yeah, you can do that. Say ghost writing.
yeah.
Have a couple words on there, and
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So, anything else that I've missed? Coming down the pipe that you want to promote?
I can't think of anything else. I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah, that's right. A picture book.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or as Ronnie says, a glider comic book. That would be cool.
What's kind of weird is I've actually thought about using a little glider logo and doing like a children's book, but
that'd be cool.
I even get intimidated by that because I'm like, gosh, that's just I don't think I can do it.
So, I think that would be even harder.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the kids are bigger critics. So there you go. Yep.
Honesty.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it'd take them no time to be like, yeah, this is terrible. So
I don't think they would think it was terrible, but they're definitely a hard group. Everyone thinks it's easy, but no.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, what we definitely have to get on the schedule is a ghost biker and glider collaboration. I think that
would be awesome.
When you get your schedule worked out with knowing exactly what you're going to do, and hit me up, because I think that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, it'd be a blast. It would just be interesting. I'm sure of it. So
I have no doubt about it. I think that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. And as Nancy says, it's race time. So
definitely.
But guys, thank you all so much for your questions tonight, and just the great conversation that's been going on. And yep, Wanda, we'll definitely get a collaboration in the works there.
That's for sure.
Thank you, Glider. I know when we talked before, I know you do limited appearances and podcasts and stuff. So thank you for opening the door and taking the time to come on with me tonight. It's always
for sure.
Always a pleasure.
Definitely.
So, and then folks, we've got a great show coming up next week. Just want to make sure I'm promoting the right guest on here. Next week, I'm going to be having Mr. Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez and their team there with Staticom. They're doing some really amazing and great things when it comes to ITC and the paranormal. I've had Ron on my show before, and we got into very, very deep conversation about ITC, quantum physics, all kinds of really cool stuff. And so I know that's guaranteed to be a great show next week. So hopefully you all will tune in for that. Also, keep in mind when you're booking your paranormal investigations, keep us in mind at the historic Scott County Jail and historic Rugby After Dark. We would love to have you guys out there. If you've been before, we'd love to have you back as a repeat offender. If it's your first time, we'd love to have you come and check that out. We are back to our 5 days a week schedule, closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and tours during the evening. Daytime tours during the day, and paranormal investigations and escape rooms at night. We're keeping busy there. So definitely keep us in mind whenever you're booking your investigation. Come on down here to East Tennessee and see us there. Just making sure I've not left anything else out here. Yeah, great show tonight. Appreciate everyone, and can't wait to see everyone next week. So take care, guys, and you take care, Adam.
Already good seeing you. Thank you.
Good seeing you.